Hi there. This is going to be a module for anyone who is looking to be able to update the Master Team Productivity Sheet monthly. So this month we're working on April. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and then be able to show you kind of what we're looking at. So, all right, cancel. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, I've already opened it up. So when you open it up, you're gonna hit update and it's gonna go get the latest updates from the individual team timesheets. This happens to be March. So we're gonna move to April, and I believe April is set up to be, I'm gonna change this to like 125% so I can just see it. So I believe April is a 4-week pay period. So one of the big things that you're gonna wanna do is just, all of this should be set up. So in here, you'll see if I drag this down that it has a pretty big formula in here because it's adding in that cell from every single individual productivity timesheet that we have from each person. So you'll see where it says April right here, and it's pulling it from column E and then row 7. And then it's adding it again to the next sheet, which is RD2. And then it's going to be from the April sheet, column E7. So let's get out of that. So that's how you're getting all of these individual numbers that are being added up into here. So then what we're doing is this column D is taking the sum of everything from E all the way currently to A7. I think it's AC7, I believe is what it says. Okay, so what's happening here is it's actually taking all of these, but we don't need them all. So we're gonna delete these because these columns are not necessary because we're ending on Friday. So, right, yes, we're ending on Friday. So we're gonna delete these because they're not required and not necessary. And we're gonna go back, I hope, hang on. I think I must have scroll lock on, there we go. Okay, so we have these totals that are being added up. So we've got hours in here for ALS, things like that. Some of these are set in here, so it looks like we're missing quite a few hours. So usually when I'm not quite sure, I'll go in and look at and open up a productivity from another sheet. I generally use RD1 just to look at, or RD2 and 3. All of those are ones that I definitely take a look at. So RD3 looks like it hasn't been updated since March 30th, which is really interesting. So if we take a look at April, this is Leah's, so she doesn't have anything in there, so we're not gonna use hers. Let's take a look at, I don't know who does ALS, so this is why it is a little more difficult for me because I don't exactly know who is looking at all of, like who goes to all these places and whether ALS is something that we need to be concerned about. So that's definitely something that you're gonna wanna look at. So when you know what sheet it is, then we can go back and take a look as to why it's not coming in if it's supposed to be coming in. So the reason the 200 is sitting here is that basically this formula says take $467.80 and then take column D, 8, and subtract 4 from it and multiply that by this number, because this number right here, if we're over the monthly allotment, if you subtract 4, then it'll give us that, and you multiply it by the 66.95, that'll give us the extra. If we're under or even, then I usually change this formula and take out this addition because then we have problems with it. This calculation is wrong. So it's basically not working because there are no hours that are associated in column D. So that's something that we need to look up for this particular month. And then Highlands Behavioral is the same thing. So I think that March was let's look, I think March was a 5-week pay period. Why is that not working? There we go. Okay, so March was a 5-week pay period. So we're gonna go back and pick up, I think February was a 4-week pay period. So if it was, gosh, I don't know why there it goes. Okay, so this was a 4-week pay period. So if we take a look at the formula that we have in here, so we're taking 656.8, that never changes. We're multiplying it by 4 instead of 5, and then we're subtracting 80. So in March, you'll see that we subtracted it by 100 and multiplied it by 5 because we're adding in that extra week of hours. So for April, we're going to go back and we're going to say oh, it's already set up. So it's already been set up for April, so I must have already done that. So the reason that it's in the negative is that we're only showing 8 hours for Highlands Behavioral Health. So when those numbers start coming in, that will start changing that number, and the formula will actually show a positive number once we get all of the numbers in there for it. And then Rose, diabetes admin is coming from different sheets. So it's only coming from RD5 and RD10. If we have any additions, that's where we'll need to change this formula and update it so that we're pulling from the right row. So we're pulling from 20. And then the Rose diabetes is pulling from 20, but from the other sheets. So 10 and RD10 and RD5 are not included in this particular column, or in this particular row, because they don't have any regular Rose diabetes. And if they are, they're coming in with a different, if that in fact happens, then we will add them in with a different row number. Same with bariatrics admin and Rose bariatrics. So when the WAR picks this up, it takes all of these and adds them together. If you highlight that, you can look down here at the bottom. You can't see it because I have this a little too low. Let me see if I can raise this. There it goes. It's the total count is $8,252.46. That just happens to be right now. So that has the possibility of changing. And then Skyridge is sitting at 2,076. So I'm seeing that PSL has quite a few hours, which it did last month. So we're okay there, it looks like. Looks like we're doing a lot of extra work at PSL. So I just want to make sure. Whenever I see something change like that. So we've got lots coming in there. And then this expenses, you'll see up here, it's coming from B44. So whenever you're looking to try to figure out why it's not adding up, just just click on the cell and then come up here and you'll see what column and row it's coming from each productivity sheet. So you can see that it's coming from B44. And then you'll always want to hit escape when you do that so that you can get out of the formula. So there really isn't anything for me to fix yet until we get all of the numbers in here. So let's just look up Highlands Behavioral Health. We can do a really quick search here and see if I can find out who is supposed to be updating at Highlands. That's usually what I end up doing, is just going into productivity sheets and trying to figure out who it is. So whoever is watching this video, if you know who it is that you're looking up, and for some reason my home keys aren't working and I'm not exactly sure why. It's really starting to bother me. Come on. That's really weird. Okay, so Highlands Behavioral Health, there's no in here. Snyder's on this one, and then Rose Bariatrics is on this one for 80 hours. So we're good there. Like I said, I don't know whose these are. So this is really where you're going to go in and just like check them in. And when they're updated, then you'll be able to see the recent updates. But I see that RD9 and RD10 haven't even been touched for this month, and neither is RD3. So maybe those sheets will be filled out later. And if they are, then you'll start seeing those changes. So yeah, it looks like this is Rose Diabetes, and none of that's been filled in for April. So, one of the things I was going to check on is making sure that all of these sheets actually have their dates in here correctly. So that's the other thing that we want to look at. It looks like they're set up correctly, so that's good, or at least this particular one is. So honestly, that's what you're going to look for. You're going to look for this column of hours, what you're expecting for column D. And then column D is generally multiplied by column C to get the information in column B. The only ones that have a formula in them are ALS and Highlands Behavioral Health, and that is based on the overage of hours that we're looking at and the amount of weeks that we're doing. So it's taking a flat, and then anything that we work over that, that's what's being added in for the cost. So once those numbers get in there, then we'll be able to see everything. So hopefully this was helpful. I can do another video if we find that something in these two cells aren't coming up the way that we want. Then we can take a look at them and I can do a little bit more work, an aspect on that. So anyway, let's see. Stop sharing my screen. So if you have any questions, feel free to give me a call or email me and I will take a look at these. Again, I'm Liza. You can email me at lschmidt76@me.com if you're needing information and more updates on this particular module. I hope this was helpful and I look forward to seeing you at the next module.